Listen, guys, I want what's best for you. I wouldn't lie to you because I love you to pieces. Don't be going out here in public stinking, whether it be at the gym, at the ballpark, at the grocery store, at the dojo. You don't want to be the one that's reeking from body odor. So we got a little solution for your life. We got the Mando starter pack for your life. See, Mando is a full body deodorant, not just for your underarms, okay? So if your feet stink, it's good for you. If your man part stink, you can use them there, even if your elbow stink, and not just the part of the elbow that you think will stink. If the outside of your elbow stinks, you can put some Mando on there and it'll be good to go. See, Mando is not like other deodorants where it just masks the smell and hides it and you stink in 2 more hours. Mando stops it before it even becomes an odor. And one more thing I love about Mando too is that, you know, you don't just go check please and you just see a bunch of cakey deodorant nonsense up under your underarms. Mando deodorant is invisible and it disappears. That's a huge plus for me. And Mando got a list of fantastic scents. It got Pro Sports. I imagine that's for like sport and stuff like that. Mount Fuji smells fantastic. Even the deodorant wipes have a really fun smell to them. And they even got this bourbon leather that like smells grown, right? Everybody wants to smell grown. You don't want to smell like a kid. I would say that Mando has a bunch of like age neutral smells. Is that a thing? Is that a word? Is that a word? Age neutral smells. So if you're a teenager, you'll smell good. If you're a grown man, you will still smell good. Mando has you covered. I know y'all like package deals, and Mando got a starter pack for the new customers. It comes with a solid sticky deodorant, cream tube deodorant, or an acidified cleansing bar, and 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes. And you get free shipping. I want to save you some money. Voch says this: new customers get $5 off at shopmando.com with our exclusive code VOCH, 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 and that equates to over 40% off on your starter pack using code VOCH at checkout at shopmando.com, or you can just click the link in the description, enter code VOCH, and you can get $5 off that way. Okay, I love y'all, man. I don't want y'all just messing up the world with your stinky problems. Okay, I'm proud of you taking that next step to keep everything fresh. Mando. And we are back and we doing all right. I'm Voch Lombardi. Bryan Broaddus is joining me today. Let me make sure that my audio is working today. In case y'all, let me make sure I'm recording this thing. In case y'all didn't notice, today is Saturday. This thing normally drops on Friday. Nothing got postponed. We did the best show we did yesterday, Bryan Broad. We had special guests come through, Jeff Kavanaugh. No, we didn't do all that, but we did have a show yesterday, but I forgot to turn our audio up. So it's just a bunch of us doing this and making facial expressions and all that. And boy, Bryan, it was a banger of a show. And we can recap it today for the people. You had a game and you put me in a terrible compromising position, and we could just recap that today, sir. How you doing? I'm sure you're doing all right. Wait, stop. Don't answer the question because we're doing all right. We're always doing all right. But, I know we're doing all right. It's a great name of a show. We are doing all right. We're doing all right. Just want to make sure that I thought maybe it was something on the crusty guy's end. I thought maybe I had a mic problem or something like. What's up with the veteran savvy producer, content guy, legend in the business? Oh, you know, I'm looking at all the bars on my side. They're all green. Everything's okay. Man, I'm making some really good points. You know, I'm firing questions at you, and you're just kind of like great answers, and I'm digging it. And all of a sudden, I get a text from you. Hey, man, I'm really sorry. I can see the tone of the text. Yeah, I'm really sorry, man. Hey, I'll never do this again. But can I get you up on a Saturday morning? Day off. Don't worry about the old man. Don't need any sleep. Don't need anything. I'm up. You know, I'm out hanging out, doing things. But here I am. Hey. Here I am for you. Bryan, here I am. I am flattered that you would wake up early on a Saturday morning when you could be golfing or fishing or boiling crawfish or something. You could be doing anything. But sir, don't you dare compliment me and use it to my damn detriment. Talking about producer extraordinaire. You come on. Yeah, I thought that when you text me, I thought there was something that I did. You know, I'm trying to work with cameras and hooks and all this stuff, and you go, and then the tone of the text was I'm sorry. You were so apologetic, and I felt bad. I really felt bad because you're special at this thing. You're like, I love doing this show, but you know what? Mm-hmm. Every once in a while, you throw an interception. Yeah. You know, got to rally back. But you know what I'm doing? Do some pics, I saved my little sheet of paper I got here, Bob. I saved it. Please.
I didn't throw it away. I saved it. You know what? I'm gonna ask you the same darn question as I asked you yesterday. How about that?
It's gonna be a little better now, Bryan Broaddus, because also something else that we're gonna do. As you ask me those, I'm gonna give even further context than I gave yesterday because I thought about some things. Right?
Sure.
Sometimes it's much more than this player or this player. It's how that player impacts the dudes around them. That also matters, right? So when you ask me something today, when you ask me this or that today, I have even further context because last night when I was sad and depressed that I wasted Bryan Broaddus' time, I was thinking about how I can make this thing a little more special, and I thought about some extra context. So please, sir, fire away.
Okay, the show that we did yesterday that we're now doing today, it really is predicated on which one of these players needs to have their best season. And this is the best this season for the team to have success. And what I've done is I've paired a defensive player, offensive player, and I'm going to ask you, Voch, which one of these guys the Cowboys for 2024 needs to have their best season. And I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to start with Tank Lawrence or Zack Martin. Who needs to have their best season?
So my answer yesterday, Bryan Broaddus, was Tank Lawrence. And I said that because in my mind, if we can have one of those 2014 Tank Lawrence season, like he's always a demon in the run game, but if we can get like a 12 sack season out of Tank Lawrence, right? Like, boy, how good would this defense be? I started thinking, Bryan Broaddus. I started pondering on my answer because I tried to make up for wasting your time yesterday, right?
Yeah.
What does Zack Martin's best season look like? You know, just with that extra context, right? I know I said everything. I know I said all this about put Tank in B gap and let all the young guys.
You had some really good answers. You had good Tank answers.
I had some good answers that they'll never hear, Bryan Broaddus. But then I thought about it, man. I was like, man, what does a Hall of Famer's best season look like? Tank Lawrence is not a Hall of Famer. He's a Cowboy Ring of Honor dude at most. If we win a championship, he'll probably do all that with us. But Hall of Fame Zack Martin, his best year may have been his 5th year in the league. What does better than that looks like? And the point that I did make yesterday, devil's advocate wise, right? I was like, hey man, I might need Zack Martin and Tyler to be a little better because we have question marks at center. We got Brock Hoffman at center, and I said him first because that was your damn old line coach say. So you got Brock Hoffman at center, and behind him, Brock Hoffman, you have a rookie in Cooper Beebe that never played a game and snapped the football in real life, right? So in my mind, not only would Zack Martin help your center, your right tackle that you also have some questions about, Zack Martin will help Terrence Steele, but how much better would your quarterback be? And we don't know what we doing at running back, Bryan Broaddus. How much better would Rico Dowdle or Ezekiel Elliott be if that offensive line was just 20% better, right? I think that's the math, right? Zack Martin is 20% of your offensive line, and he's already a GOAT, but he's at the end of his road now, Bryan Broaddus. What if we could just rewind that clock back to when Travis and Tyron when his neck wasn't hurting, and Doug Free and all those guys? What if we can get that Zack Martin back? And that's what made me almost change my answer, because I would still love to have a 15 sack season from Tank Lawrence. So I'm gonna double back down and go Tank again. But boy, the best season from a Hall of Famer, one better than that. I was super excited thinking about it last night, Bryan.
It's funny. It's the thing that first came to my mind when I put those two players together. You would love to have vintage Tank Lawrence and the terror that when he was in the Rod Marinelli defense where he was attacking the edge, working the edge, and then sliding down inside, playing 3 technique. Oh, he slides inside on a 4th and 1 and makes a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And that guy, that instinctual football player can havoc on an offense. But man, the more I thought about it, and I say Zack Martin here because I don't know I have an idea what the front office would like to do at center. I don't know if the offensive line coach is going to go for it. And when the offensive line coach doesn't go for it at center, when he's not interested in BB, now we'll see. There'll be a competition. I don't know how much of a competition it'll be.
Sure.
Because there is such a love for Brock Hoffman. But I know one thing. Zack Martin, when they had to start Terrence Steele, helped Terrence Steele at right tackle. If they have to start Brock Hoffman because the coach says we got to have a veteran, and I say veteran center, then I got to have the best version of Zack Martin that I can have. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned it, the running game, the protection of the quarterback, all those things are players here. So give me vintage Zack Martin over vintage Tank Lawrence, just for the reason of I'm not sure that I think if the line coach says I'd like to play Hoffman, mm-hmm. I could see Mike McCarthy going with his coach. I could see Mike saying, instead of saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to play that guy. I remember Mike Holmgren when we were in Green Bay, the same thing. And Mike Holmgren said it about Brett Favre. They're like, there's people that like, well, we got Mark Brunell. Brett had thrown a bunch of interceptions and Mike Holmgren, there was a push to see, well, we got Mark Brunell. Let's see what he's got. Mike Holmgren said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not. We're playing Brett Favre. I'm attached to the hip at this guy. We're going. This is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Mike McCarthy would do that. No. I think Mike McCarthy would side with his coach and say, okay, if you think, Mike, that this is the best way for us to operate, let's go. So I'm going to need vintage Zack Martin if that's the case.
And next thing you know, somebody's getting fired, Bryan Broaddus. But let me add this to you, Bryan.
Yeah.
And just in case you saw me looking down here, I'm not being rude. I'm doing something. How about this? Because this is content, Bryan Broaddus. I actually looked up Tank Lawrence's best season, okay?
Right.
And it was in 2017. He had 58 tackles and 14 and a half sacks and 4 forced fumbles, okay?
Yeah.
So can I offer you, that's 14, so let's say 16 sacks, right? Tank Lawrence give you 70 tackles, 16 sacks, 6 tackles for losses, and 3 pass deflections.
Yeah.
That's a crazy little year for your second pass rusher. Go ahead.
No. Those numbers all sell. That you, like I say, I could close my eyes and see number 90 making a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. I could see him jumping the snap in a Philadelphia game and beating Lane Johnson inside for a play.
Sure.
I could see that. I could see him, taking tackles up the field and then working back underneath and not going too deep, but get right where the quarterback is.
Yeah.
I could see that. And that to me is as welcoming and inviting, and it makes it hard. That one is hard because everything you just described, those numbers, that's who that player is.
How about this, Bryan? How about this? We always talk about, okay, Micah Parsons is fantastic versus the Giants, but when can we have him in this clutch moment? How about this, Bryan Broaddus? I remember in a playoff game versus the Lions, DeMarcus Lawrence gets a sack, gets the football and fumbles it, and he says, damn, I got to get the ball back again. And he gets the sack again. Back-to-back sacks. Like Tank Lawrence, a lot of people, poo-poo on Tank because of who he is as a run game guy now. But Tank was a dog. I would love to pair that with Micah Parsons, but I would love to pair Zack Martin with Tyler Smith also. So this is a banger, Bryan. This is a banger of a question.
No, I was on the sidelines that day that Tank made that play, and I'll never forget when he fumbled that ball. I'm like, and the game was totally in the balance.
Yeah,
it was totally in the balance that day. And you're like, oh my gosh, they just lost the game on a fumble that they had. And he came back. He made a huge play. Loudest I've ever heard the stadium, by the way. God, that was loud that day.
Man.
All right, here's another one for you, man. We good? We good on that one?
Fantastic.
We're good?
Fantastic.
Oh, we got plenty more of these. We did this yesterday, and you were good yesterday. I think today you're off to a good start.
Yeah, come on.
I don't want to give you too much credit, but
please.
Here we go. How about this one? Jake Ferguson or Trevon Diggs?
Okay. So this
Ferguson or Diggs?
So this is where I'm not going to waver at all, Bryan Broaddus. I'm 10 toes down on this. And I'm going to look up Diggs' numbers just to further, like how
expand your points,
solidify how ridiculous his best season would be. I think Ferguson's going to be fine. I think Jake Ferguson is going to be a top 5 tight end. I think Dak will lead him into being a top 5 tight end. But what does Jake Ferguson's best season look like, right? Like, what is his best season with Dak going to look like? And it may be an 1,100-yard season, 7 touchdowns or something like that. I can live with that. Trey Diggs' best season might be 15 interceptions, Bryan Broaddus, and that sounds like hyperbole. But it ain't. But it ain't hyperbole. That's Trey Diggs, and that's how he gets down. Also, point I made yesterday that's very important to me. Shouts out to Will Steele. I shot at you out yesterday. Nobody heard it. I'm gonna shout you out again, sir. We love you over here.
We do love you, man.
There was this idea of last year's defense being Teflon, is what I called it. Right. That's when, all right, you got Deron Bland at nickel, Gilmore at corner, Trevon Diggs on the other side, and that cornerback tandem. Brian, what's the word for 3 people? Like triplet? That cornerback triplets. Those guys, I was like, man, you can't pick on those dudes, and that's something that we never had, Brian. Because on one side, Trey Diggs would be incredible. Kelvin Joseph, Anthony Brown, Xavier Rose, Trayvon Mullen. I cannot forget their names, Brian, bro. It's stuck in my mind. I can't forget their names. Yeah. And all right, cool. Just because you good at right corner or boundary corner doesn't mean you're good at field corner. And they're gonna throw on that dude. They're gonna play find the scrub, and they're gonna pick on that guy, Bryan Broaddus. Right. So I was super excited at the idea that the Diggs, Gilmore, Bland trifecta, maybe that's the word. I was so excited about those guys, and then Trey got hurt. Yeah. And Bland had growing pains, and we had to live through that whole thing. Yeah. They asked Al Harris. He had some coach availability. The assistant head coach, Al Harris. They asked him. They said, Al, how do you feel about having 2 all-pro corners? And he was giddy. He was excited, and he should be. The one thing that we don't want, Brian, or that I can't have, I'd be hurt, is if Deron Bland is finally where he's supposed to be, covering cornerback 2s and making it look good. I would hate it if Trey Diggs had this setback, and he's coming off the ACL. So if I could sprinkle some magic dust on Trey Diggs' ACL and be like, hey, man, I need you to have the best season you could possibly have, Jake will be fantastic regardless. I want Trey to have the best possible season that he could possibly have, and this defense would be ridiculous if he did.
I have a feeling you're going to – and by the way, great points. I'll give you some credit for that. You did your homework on that one.
Come on, Bryan.
You tried to convince me, but you didn't. You didn't convince me on that one.
Man.
You didn't give me. You might have convinced some other people, but you're not going to convince me.
Let me look up Trevon Diggs. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Let me look this up.
They're going to need Jake Ferguson to play huge this year.
Yeah.
Especially, you and I have done shows. We're talking about this. We're talking about number of targets. Dak Prescott is going to need Jake Ferguson to be huge. They're going to need Jake Ferguson to be as good as George Kittle, as good as Kelsey, as good as any one of these tight ends that we all fall in love with. That like every week we're watching the highlight package and it's like, wow, that dude they just toasted this secondary with that guy. Or that, if it turns into that they don't have a suitable 2, and I mean a 2 that can be, the type of 2 where it's they're starting to take Diggs away. Excuse me, not Diggs. They're taking Lamb away, and the 2's not getting it done. And all of a sudden, it turns into the Jake Ferguson show. And they're going to need he's got to have 9 catches, 10 catches, 12 catches, whatever he has to have. Hell, we remember the day of Tony Romo throwing the ball to Jason Witten in the Giants game and having like 19 catches or something crazy thing like that.
Sure.
I just, as good as I think Diggs is, and by the way, I was with some people the other night. Diggs is working, but this is going to take a little bit more time. It's a little bit more insight for our show listeners. Been visiting with some folks. I was over in the Star area a couple nights ago, and they were telling me like, listen, Hayes, things are going along okay. but we got a ways. We got some ground to cover here. That kind of gave me some pause, because what have we seen, Voch? We've seen these guys come back from the knees, and it's taken them time to get ready and get up to speed and get going.
Yeah.
And so I think initially in camp, you and I are going to be watching practice, and it's going to be Diggs standing over by us doing stuff.
Yeah.
So that worries me a little bit, but I think what I need Ferguson to be, I don't need Ferguson just to be average. I need Ferguson to be one of those Kelsey Kittle guys, because I think Dak Prescott's going to have to, I think he's going to need him to be that.
Sure.
And I give me his absolute best, because I think his arrow, as we say in the scouting world, is going up.
Yeah.
I think it's going up. But man, I just Diggs, I need him to be healthy, and I need him to be ready. And I'm kind of hopeful on that one right now.
So, Bryan, if we weren't doing this exercise, right? If we weren't playing this game, what do you think Jake Ferguson's season looks like?
I think Jake Ferguson's capable of anywhere between 80 and 90 catches.
Yeah.
Is what I think he is. I think he is capable of, like you're talking about, 1,100 yards. I think he's capable of 6-7 touchdowns, maybe more.
Sure.
I think he is a problem. And you know why I think he's a problem for people? Because he's not scared.
Yeah. He's
willing to take hits and catch footballs. His run after catch is outstanding.
Yeah. His
ability, the way he plays, the way he's able to make people miss and get extra yards, I think he is going to be second on the team in targets. So there's no doubt about it in my mind.
Sure.
And I do. I think 80, 90 catches is clearly possible for this guy.
So what you're saying, and we didn't talk about this yesterday. So what you're saying is you would rather have Jake Ferguson have 1,500 yards and let's say 13 touchdowns, right? I'd
love it. Yeah. If it was possible. Yeah.
You would rather have that than Trevon Diggs get you 14 interceptions. Night Train Lane got 14 interceptions. So
Night Train Lane at Detroit was a hell of a football player. I mean, Night Train Lane was a great football player. And yeah, interceptions. I'll say this though, Voch. I talked to Mike Zimmer about this.
Yes, sir.
Mike was warning me and others. I believe he said this to others too. He's like, listen, we might not get the turnovers they've had in the last couple of years.
Sure.
We might not. The way our scheme, where we play our scheme, we might not have the turnovers. He goes, I could just hear people now, bring back Dan Quinn. They don't get turnovers, And Mike's like telling people like, no, the way I play this scheme, we might have a guy that has 3-4 interceptions, and that might be the possibility of having what Deron Bland has done or what Diggs has done. They might get their hands on balls in the way of PBUs and stuff like that, passes broken up, things like that. But the interceptions might not be. I'll tell you what, I'll take Diggs and Bland knocking down balls and not giving up big plays. I'll take that.
Sure.
But I know people, I guarantee you and I are going to be doing a show in week 7 and people are going to say, you guys never talk about the lack of turnovers here. I'm warning you now. Mike Zimmer's even telling me that the way the scheme plays, there might not be a lot of turnovers.
So let me tell you how great this damn Trey Diggs stat line going to be, right? Even if that's the case, in 2021, he had 21 pass deflections. So you mean to tell me he could get 27 or 30? I'm still taking Trey Diggs over Jake Ferguson, bro. Look, I think Jake Ferguson has what he needs already to have the best. Like he had 700 yards last year. So his best season would be 800 yards, 900 yards. I think he's capable of doing that already. This exercise is about magic fairy dust. That's what it's all about, Bryan, bro. Trey,
You know, how many catches do you think he can have? Am I overrating his catches by about 30 in your mind then?
no, I think Jake
20.
I think Jake Ferguson had 70 some odd catches last year, right? So
Yeah.
I think if he, like I said yesterday, Bryan, just saying this here, the Cowboys' offense was nonsense for like the first 6 or 7 weeks. Mike McCarthy tried to do his, all these dragon concepts, all the little double slant stuff. I mean, that's cool, but once he submitted to Dak and he complied, that's when his offense opened up a little bit. So in my mind, everything that happened on this offense is going to be 4 to 6 games better. I don't think I'm out of line saying that, So I wouldn't be surprised if Jake Ferguson gets 90 or even 100 catches, or because one, he's going to get the design plays or whatever that's going to him, but then Jake's gonna get the dump off stuff. Okay, right. Everybody's going now. Emergency. There was a year where Zeke had like 70 catches from just being dump off guy. He wasn't great at it, but he was there. I think Jake Ferguson can have 100 some catches just by being the emergency dump off guy.
I like what you did there. Terrence, Steele, or Sam Williams?
Okay, this is
who needs to
too.
have their best season? Terrence, Steele, or Sam Williams?
So there was this trend that we noticed yesterday, Bryan, is that I was going all defense. And, I think, and I would love to ask the audience.
Mike Zimmer was loving you at that time,
I would love to ask my audience this. Y'all can go on my comments and let me know if I'm off. But I think that we're looking at the defense. We're looking directly at them. We saw the offense, be down for 6 weeks and catch up to be one of the top 3 teams. We saw your quarterback finish second in the MVP. We saw your wide receiver get 1,700 yards and he led the league in receptions, top 3 in touchdowns. We saw this from the Cowboys offense, right? And we were looking for them to stop the run versus Green Bay. We were looking for them to stop the run versus, the Bills or whatever, right? We saw these different running backs, even versus the Panthers. We won and nobody really thought about it like that, but I'm film guy. Miles Sanders had a cool little run day against you on this team that wasn't supposed to be close, right? Yeah. So I'm looking at my defense, right? Like, hey, pass rush. Hey, corners. Hey, this new set of linebackers. Like, I think that they have all the questions here. So if you see me go down this list, I'm picking all defenders, mostly defenders, I would say. Yeah, because I think I got the most questions about them. I want them to match this number 1, number 2, number 3 offense that we've been having for the past 5 or 6 years. So hell yeah, Sam Williams, I would love for you to be responsible. I would love for you to not get penalties every time you're on the field. I would love for you to be consistent. I would love for you, you whooped the Lions this game. Let's do it the next week. Don't just disappear this week. I would love that from Sam Williams. If anything about Terrence Steele, and look, Bryan, you're not wrong about Terrence Steele. You always apologize about Terrence Steele. He wasn't good. Texas Tech threw the ball 50 times. He was not a running blocker. He went to the Senior Bowl. He didn't win a rep at the Senior Bowl. He got to the league and he was terrible. You wasn't wrong. That dude works hard. That's different. Yeah. That dude works hard. Duke Manyweather is a wizard. That's different than what you were talking about. So if anything, since Terrence Steele has been good, he's been consistent. He's been hurt. And that Eagles game was bad or whatever, but besides his injury stuff, Terrence Steele has been consistent. Sam Williams has not. So if you give me a full bottle of magical fairy dust, I'm pouring that joint. I was sprinkling on Trey and I was sprinkling on D-Law. I'm pouring all the fairy dust on Sam Williams because we need that dude to play like a second round pick, and that'll unlock your defense.
I'll tell you what, this is the time that I actually agree with you on this one, because I feel like to me, I'm still waiting on Sam Williams, but I've seen flashes to where I'm like, this guy could definitely help. The inconsistency at right defensive end for this team last year when they played the run, or some of the pass rush was good from over there, whether it was Fowler or, with Armstrong, those guys, they did their jobs at times. If they can get a guy that plays to the level of what Lawrence plays on the left side, and people will say, well, get ready for this rookie that they drafted. Let's see what Marshawn Nealon does. I'm kind of thinking Marshawn Nealon is more of a tank player on the left side than he is a right side player.
Sure.
But everybody's like, oh, well, wait, you get here. I don't see the pass rush ability from Nealon that I do from Williams.
Yeah.
I think Marshawn Nealon could be a better run player, but Sam Williams is capable of that too. He's capable of that. And if you could tell me that Sam Williams doesn't get penalties, lines up the right way, and can help them get off the field on third down, give me that all day.
Sure.
You're right about Steele. Steele is going to, and I appreciate you being nice about my Steele comments. I buried that kid. And you're right. He works hard. He's coachable. He has a lot of warts, but he fought through a lot of things. I think he is more consistent than what you have at Sam Williams. Sam Williams is consistent being inconsistent.
Yeah.
Is what he is. And if you told me that Sam Williams could be that guy that could play the edge, the run well, and also give me pass rush consistently, give me that guy all day. You absolutely need that guy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was looking at Sam's numbers, and he's only had 4 sacks and 4.5 sacks. That's not enough. That is not enough. It is time for you to break out and do something, sir.
That's his own deal, though, Osh. That's his own problem. That's his Dan Quinn and AD and those guys not trusting him on third down to rush and not get hands to the face or jump off sides or get a roughing the quarterback.
Sure.
They could put him out there in those third down situations, get off the field. Diggs can knock the ball down, and all of a sudden Sam Williams, no, illegal hands to the face, defense, first down, automatic first down. And then you're going, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? And I can understand coaches not doing that.
Yeah.
How about CeeDee Lamb or Micah Parsons?
This was another
CeeDee Lamb. Who needs their best season for the Cowboys to have success this year? Micah Parsons or CeeDee Lamb?
This was another tough one, Brian. And yesterday, I thought the answer was easy.
Yeah,
I thought the answer was kind of. I thought this was clearly Micah. Like Micah. Yeah. We're waiting for him. We're waiting for his production and numbers to match his talent and visibility or whatever. Like he's in that group. And pass rush win rate is cool. Like all that's fine, and his double team, triple team rate and all that. Yeah. But we put him in a group with Myles Garrett, and Myles Garrett gets doubled and triple teamed every play. And he still finds a way to get to them high double digits, those high teens, those 20s. Yeah. He gets there. TJ Watt, Crosby, those guys, Bosa, Micah is in that ilk of guys, right? And we would love to see him in a playoff game. We would love to see him get those numbers, get those plays, those game-changing plays. Sometimes, you know what, Brian? Sometimes it takes. Let's just do this, Brian. We didn't even do this yesterday. Sometimes it takes one play in the Green Bay game to turn everything around. You know what I mean? We're not asking, Micah to save the world, but you're the best dude on this. You're the most talented dude on this roster, Micah Parsons. And maybe just hitting Jordan Love in the mouth one time, just, be that superhero, man. It's unfair. But it's unfair to Dak when we ask him to do it, We ask a lot of Dak. We sure do. It's unfair. But, hey, Micah, overcome this adversity in this, double team situation. Hit Jordan Love in the mouth. Get your offense the ball back and give them an opportunity to try to figure this out without being down by 3 scores, right? So, yeah, I'm looking at Micah to overcome some of these things, right? But there's another side of me that likes to think past what I originally thought, Brian. And, we did this exercise yesterday, but we didn't record it. I'm
glad I'm not the guy that was the problem.
That was my fault.
Okay.
I thought the easy answer was Micah. But do you think CeeDee Lamb could have been a little better for you last year? Brian Broaddus? I'm not, he'll pout for you sometimes, whatever. But do you think, and this may be unfair, but CeeDee Lamb, you the best most talented team, dog. Do you think Marvin Harrison would have pulled Peyton out of something Do you think Calvin Johnson would have pulled Stafford out of something?
I watched Megatron do that to Dallas one day for about 400 yards. It felt like
I saw Larry Fitzgerald take the Cardinals to the damn Super Bowl with an old man, and they did it by themselves. You know what I mean?
They sure did.
CeeDee got big numbers last year, 1,700 yards, Bryan Broaddus.
Yes,
but he also led the league in catches, right? So so maybe that's a volume stat. Just go beat Jair Alexander for me. Just go beat that dude. It's easy when we're looking at the Lions game and we're playing mismatch and you whooping Cam Sutton or something. You know what I mean? That's cool, whooping Cam Sutton. But go and whoop that superstar over there. That's what I want to see more of from Lamb. I think ultimately my answer would still be Micah Parsons because I think he has the whole defense on his back. And I think if I'm looking at offense, I'm more so leaning at 4 to overcome some things. But man, I kind of want CeeDee Lamb to not pout if things aren't going his way or if he's not getting the football. CeeDee Lamb was pouting in the first drive, the second series in the game, And a lot of what you asking me, Brian, a lot of this could go back to the Green Bay game. A lot of this could go back to my bad thoughts in Green Bay. So hey, in Green Bay, Voch, who I want to be better, Micah Parsons or Lamb. In real life, I want both of them to be a little bit better because they both let me down a bit. But overall, I would say I would love for Micah to be a Myles Garrett guy. I would love that.
Okay, let me flip you on this one then.
Please.
You're going to pay both of those guys. Just say, okay, just in our fantasy world here we're talking about. Somehow Adam Pacifica and Stephen Jones get these contracts done. Whose contract is going to work out better for them long term, Lamb or Parsons?
I think the receiver contract will work out better long term, possibly, maybe, because can CeeDee Lamb go to the table and say I'm the best receiver in the league? Like, can he go to the table and say that, right?
He can.
I think it's going to be people in front of him all the time, right? There's always going to be.
There's going to be names, but I think the role is really small. The roll call when we call the names. Yeah, I think he's got a seat at that table.
He definitely has a seat at the table. I think Micah Parsons can legitimately go to that table and be like, "I'm the best defender in the league, and there ain't nothing you can do about it."
Yeah, but you name like 3 defenders, and I don't think you included Watt in there as well.
Yeah, I got you.
And so all of a sudden I'm thinking 4 wide receivers, 4 edge rushers,
That's fair.
So to me, I kind of feel like, and this is going to sound probably strange to people, I think the receiver, I see CeeDee Lamb getting better. I think the one fault CeeDee Lamb has, and you mentioned it, he gets emotional about it.
Sure.
And I don't know what happens to Parsons during games sometimes. I think Parsons will stat hunt now.
Sure.
We've had guys go in, 105.3 The Fan have gone in the locker room after a game they win, and Parsons is pissed because he didn't, and they got to win.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, well, you're okay. I think if I had to just say which one of these 2 contracts are going to pan out the best, I think it's the Lamb contract would. Now they're both. My scenario here, they're both signed. It's not like who's trying to get money. They're both signed. I think when they look at the contract, the Lamb one will be better long term than what the Parsons contract will be.
Would you say that CeeDee has a lot more room to grow? Like, would you say that his ceiling is that much higher than Micah's?
I do. I feel like this guy has gotten better every year he's played.
I agree there.
And there's things with Parsons just, once they moved him to edge, it was perfect for him because we've talked about on this show, his mom and dad gave him a God-given talent to rush the passer.
Yeah.
Being an off-ball linebacker is a joke. I shouldn't use the word joke. To Parsons, you don't get the impact of off-ball linebacker that you do when you put him on the edge.
We understand.
And when they put him on the edge, he became this sit at the table with J.J. Watt and all the great ones.
Pushback, small pushback, Brian. when the San Francisco 49ers beating our ass, are we more upset at Fred Warner or Nick Bosa?
It was Warner.
It's always Warner, Bryan, bro. I think there's a way, and sure, pass rushers are flashy. They get the sacks. He get to crawl around. That's cool. But man, Fred Warner gives me much more of a headache than Nick Bosa. I think you can figure out how to deal with Nick Bosa. If Warner's having one of those games, you stuck. So just my smallest pushback on that, I think Micah could be a superstar. How about one of my favorite plays from Micah? We were playing the Dolphins or the Saints, whatever team, what's his name is, the wide receiver, Kenny Stills. Micah Parsons bails out and runs step for step with Kenny Stills. You know what I mean? Like Micah got a lot of sacks that are impressive, but watching that dude just run around and be the fastest dude on the field is impressive to me. It's more impressive.
There was a game, and I'm like you in these games. They run a wheel route on him, and this game was played at AT&T. They run a wheel route on him to his left. He carries the back all the way and then knocking the ball, and I'm like going, all right. Yeah. I mean, this guy, you talk about playing on feel and just a little bit, maybe some instinct about it, this kind of seeing what's going on. And then like, oh, wow, this is happening to me. And he runs or he'll do some athletic thing. And you're like going, gosh, dang.
So let me ask you this, Bryan. I'm sorry, but do you think
it doesn't happen all the time? I know what you're going to say.
We didn't even talk about no. Do you think Micah's ceiling is higher at linebacker than it is pass rusher? I think I think he's as good as he is. I think he's good as he's going to be as a pass rusher right now, and he can maybe work on his hands a little bit. But as a linebacker, now his mind has room to grow to affect the game. I think he could be a much better linebacker in the future than a pass rusher. And he can still rush the passer from linebacker.
I want to say you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think he likes to study the game.
Oh yeah, he don't like. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. I mean, you got these. He goes out and he seeks information from tackles on how to beat guys and break guys down, and he's always kind of hunting. He's hunting. Well, hey, how do you do this? He doesn't want to sit there and learn about playing drop coverage and flat to curl. And he doesn't want to do that. I mean, we've talked about this, and I swear I'm trying not to be a broken record.
Please.
He doesn't like the classroom aspect of football. He just doesn't. He wants to play, and he's like, okay, let's pick sides, and we're going to go play football today.
Yeah.
Okay, I pick you, and let's go play football. Yeah. He doesn't want anything to do with Sean Lee, Dat Wynn, Dexter Coakley, the ones that came before him, Leighton Vander Esch. He doesn't want any of that sitting there in that room. I can't tell you how many times at Valley Ranch I walked by a film room and Sean Lee was sitting in there by himself with a cup of coffee and watching and just watching and watching and watching. And I'm like, hey, Sean. Oh, hey, Bryan. How's it going? Oh, good. What do you got going? They run this offset look. I'm trying to get a handle on what formations they're going to run this play out of. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't have the access to the meeting rooms like I did when I was at Valley Ranch and some at the Star, but I don't think Micah Parsons is in there chopping it up, trying to figure out when they're in when they got an H back in the game and they're a heavy formation, which way they're going to run the ball. I don't think that's his focus. Yeah. His focus is like, we're playing next Sunday at noon, and I'm going to go rush the passer. That's, I think, his focus.
Yeah.
So I don't know about the linebacker part. I don't know about that getting better because I don't think right now he wants to completely put in the work to be Sean Lee, Dat Wynn, Dexter Coakley. You go back to the Super Bowl team, guys that sat there and watched tape every single minute of the day and learned about this stuff.
Maybe I just have this dream of this Bobby Wagner type player that can rush the passer like Von Miller.
Bobby Wagner, yeah. Bobby Wagner's going to play till he's 100 because he plays with instincts and he never gets hurt.
Yeah, fair enough, Bryan.
Hey, yesterday I gave you a bunch of names. I'm still doing this names thing we're doing.
Sure.
But okay, of the rookies, and I was thinking of the rookies of guys, just the two rookies. Guyton or Leofau? Who needs to? Let me change the wording of the question.
Sure.
Who needs to have their best rookie season?
In this particular situation,
Guyton or Leofau?
In this particular situation, as bad as I want Leofau to be, just to be that guy, because I know he got it in him, and I know he's smart, and I know Zimmer love him already, and I know he's on his way. If this would have been Leofau versus Nealon, Leofau versus Carson, Leofau versus Rodgers, I'm picking Leofau because I know he, as a linebacker, smarts, coverage, open space awareness. I'm ready for him to tear this thing up. But man, when you mention Tyler Guyton, I need that dude to be decent. I need and listen to what I'm saying to you, Brian. I need that dude to be decent. I want Leofau to be a superstar.
Right.
I simply want Tyler Guyton to be a good player in the league. If he can do that, I'm thrilled. I don't want him to be Tyron Smith. I don't want you to be just go be Colton Miller. If you Colton Miller, if you get Colton Miller out of Tyler Guyton, that's a home run for that dude. And if he's better than that, I'll take that. But watching his college film, look, we've all had pause when we watching this college film. We all have nerves when we watch. So yeah, I love Leofau, man. But if Guyton can overcome his Oklahoma mess, I'll take that home run, Bryan Broaddus. I'll take Leofau starting next year if I could get Tyler Guyton to be. You want to know why? Because Leofau has Eric Kendricks this year. Yeah, we cool at Mike. Leofau can go play teams. He can go tackle people. He can go play Will and whatever. He ain't got to. Chuma Adoga is not starting left tackle for you. Oof. He is not starting. So you need Tyler Guyton this year. Yeah, I need him to play, Brian. I need him to play well.
Okay, play the game again with me here. Leofau and essentially a rookie in Overshown at linebacker, because Overshown didn't play a snap for you in the regular season last year.
Sure.
So Leofau, Overshown.
I'm taking Leofau.
You need to have their best rookie season then.
I'm taking Leofau because I think Overshown is going to be fine regardless, because I think they're going to use Overshown as like a weapon. I think Overshown, his role, right?
Safety.
If you got two linebackers, let's just say Overshown and Leofau, they're just your linebackers. Overshown is going to follow directions. He's going to tear stuff up. He's going to go pass rush sometimes. He's going to do weapon stuff. Leofau's job is going to be a little harder because now he has to cover. He's green dot guy. He's got to communicate. He's got to make calls. He got to line guys up. So since Leofau's job, in my personal opinion, I don't know nothing. I just got a camera and a microphone. Leofau's job, in my opinion, seems a little harder than Overshown. Overshown get to show up and play. Leofau got to, orchestrate the band a little bit. So I think Leofau.
Man, it's amazing how important that kid might be.
Yes.
Leofau. It's amazing how he might, they need him. And I can't even describe it, talking to Zimmer and stuff about it. It's just how smart the kid is and how he's fit in. And every person, we had our scout dinner on Thursday night, our draft show dinner. And by the way, if I can use your platform, thanks to everybody that watched the draft show. And I know you guys did great draft coverage as well. But everybody at the table that just kept commenting about, man, I talked to this coach, I talked to this scout, I talked to this front office guy. Everybody had a story. And it seemed like Leofau is the guy that everybody is the most excited about. They were excited about BB. Yeah. But they are really excited. And I hope they're right, because you and I were on the running back train.
Sure.
We were on the running back train. And, Pro Football Focus has ranked Dallas's running back room as the worst in the National Football League. Yeah. And maybe you could have got a guy that would have not made you the worst. Maybe they could have got a Lloyd or the kid at Tennessee. They could have got somebody. But if this kid works out from Notre Dame, this linebacker, I'll be happy to eat crow all day on that one. Yeah. I'd be more than happy to. But man,
Brian, I don't want you to.
Everybody I trust and like, it just keeps talking about this kid. They talk about him. And Zimmer talks about him, And he's like, oh, this kid, he's coachable. He knows what everybody's doing. And sometimes you get that guy, it's like, oh, the try hard. He knows everybody's position, blah, 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 and he can't play with a damn.
Yeah.
Man, they think this kid's really the total package on this. They really do.
So let me just double down on you talking to Zimmer about this. You ain't got to talk about y'all business because y'all because we public now.
Oh, Mike's cool. Mike's cool.
Do you feel like, okay, yeah, you said he like him, but they like Brock Hoffman too. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he giddy about Louis Fowl, or he just likes Louis Fowl?
No, he was like, see this. He's got a buddy, Gunther. Oh, what's Gunther's last name?
Paul Gunther.
Paul Gunther. Yeah. Paul's a senior assistant.
Yeah.
Paul's really coaching the linebackers again. You know, I mean, it's kind of like when George Edwards was here.
Mm-hmm.
George was a senior assistant guy, but if you watch the practices, George is coaching the linebackers.
Yeah.
Paul's doing the same thing. Paul's doing the same thing here right now. I mean, he doesn't have the title, but he's really coaching the linebackers. Paul was the one that brought this guy to Zimmer. And then Zimmer basically said, wow, man, you're right. He's got some traits. So this was a Paul to Zimmer. The scouting community now got involved, and it was a unanimous deal. That, I mean, it wasn't like, okay, you got to sell the guy, and now he's a bunch of crap, and we're going to appease the coaches and this kind of a thing. As a group, they really honed in on the guy, and for the scheme things that the Cowboys, you mentioned it a few shows ago. Where's the day of our linebackers intercepting balls?
Yeah.
Where's that day? That day, it seems like Sean Lee, I think, had a lot of interceptions when, but that was it seemed like forever when that happened. But this group looks like they've got guys that can cover and understand it. And I said earlier, drop, flat, hooks, places where to stand, be in the throwing lanes, get up, get the hands up, knock balls down kind of guy. This kid looks like he's got a little of that to his game. And I think that's where they fell in love with it. They feel like he's kind of a complete guy. Not kind of. They say he's a complete guy. Yeah. And that's where Mike loves toughness. He loves smarts. He loves the ability to finish. And I think that's what they feel like they got with this kid.
I'm excited about him, Bryan, bro. I'm excited about Louis Fowl.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't initially. And I'll be the first one to admit this on this wonderful platform we have. But I'm excited because I trust Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
That's me. If it was somebody else telling me that, I would go, Missouri, state of Missouri, show me.
Yeah.
Show me state, But the fact that Zimmer's like, no, this kid, he gets it. He's kind of this, he's got this linebacker instinct about him and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll trust Mike on this one. Sure. I'll trust Mike because Mike hadn't let me down. There's a couple of times Mike and I went after each other, and I MF'd him and he MF'd me a couple of times, but we're good for it right now.
Yeah. So, all right. Who else on this? I mean, what's the time look like? Oh, what's our time? We can do a couple more. Give me 2 more, Bryan.
You want 2 more?
Yeah, give me 2 more. 2 of your good ones.
See, because yesterday I gave you Ezekiel Elliott, and we went into a 10-minute, just like you just kind of looked at me like, what the F are you? That's I got the Phil Collins, right?
That's how I feel about Zeke. That's how I feel. No disrespect to him, but that's how I feel.
You know me. I love me some Phil Collins, man. I listened to Phil Collins the other day driving the ballpark. There's nothing wrong with some Genesis.
I love Phil Collins, man. I'm a huge Phil Collins
touch.
fan.
I love it, man. Give it to me all day.
Come on, man.
Home by the Sea. Give it all. I'll take it all.
Part 1 and 2. Part 1 and 2. Home by the Sea.
Part 1 and 2. You're absolutely right about that.
Come on.
So Ezekiel, we're just not. If it's Jordan Lewis and Ezekiel Elliott, you're like washing there, aren't you?
It's a wash there. I would love for Jordan Lewis to be great.
2000. You told me yesterday. You go, all right, Bryan Broaddus. By the way, my mom loves when you say Bryan Broaddus.
That's how I know.
And hi, Mom. Voch says hi too. I know he does. So we're, when you said, the first thing you said is, Ezekiel Elliott, 2016. Give me that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And my counter to that was, Jordan Lewis got that one Saints game that we always go back to.
The Saints game. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he goes out and covers Alvin Kamara. Brian, what if he goes out there and shuts down Christian McCaffrey? I'll still take 2016 Zeke, but both of these guys kind of got me just, hey,
all
man.
Right. How about this one then?
Go ahead.
All right. Would you? I'll give you a listener's choice here. You can tell me whether you want Brandon Cooks and Deron Bland to talk about. Brandon Cooks, Deron Bland, or Jalen Tolbert and our guy Overshown. Pick one. You can tell me they need best seed. Which one do you feel like you got your hottest take about?
My hottest take is, I'll say Jalen Tolbert, and I'll say this, and this just because you said hot take, right? Jalen Tolbert needs to be the best he needs to have his best camp, his best preseason. He needs to have his best practice, his best everything, because Jalen Brooks is coming for him. I think Jalen Brooks is on the way, and I like Tolbert.
You and I are going to die on that hill together.
Hey, it is what it is. Hey, look, Tolbert got a fantastic story, but Tolbert ran into that rookie year adversity and he hit that wall. You know what I mean? Brooks didn't hit Brooks didn't hit that. Brooks caught whatever Dak threw at him. You know what I mean? Whatever. But Jalen Tolbert has improved and he's been to the Dak yard. But I think Jalen Tolbert is going to be more of a Cedric Wilson guy than a Michael Gallup guy. I think Tolbert's just going to be and there's nothing wrong with being a Cedric Wilson guy. Hey, you move around the formation. You catch 3 or 4 passes. If anything goes wrong with Cooks, you just plug him right in. He'll throw a fake pass one day. I think Tolbert's going to be fine. But I think Brooks and his ability to, catch the ball away from his body, I think he has a little more length. You always talk about toughness. I think that's huge with him. Yeah. And I think Brooks's route running might be a little more, just a little more sneaky, a little more nuanced. And if you're a big dude that can run routes, you have you just an extra advantage, And plus, my biggest point, I got 2 big points this offseason, right, is Donovan Wilson is not going to be playing deep safety. And if you need an X receiver, Jalen Brooks is an X receiver.
Right.
Like Gallup was your X receiver and he's gone now, right? You would be trying to force Tolbert into an X receiver type conversation. Brooks is built for that. He's the physical, the type of play, where he lines up on the field. He's built to be an outside receiver. So Jalen needs to have a hell of a everything because Brooks is coming for him.
Man, it scares me when I agree with you on stuff.
Man.
It scares me.
Both of us gonna be wrong, huh?
But you're right, brother. You're right on this one.
Yeah.
The thing, I love what you said about Brooks. Man, I'm on a lot of platforms now, and I think people have heard me say this because I think a lot of people listen to all our shows. The thing about you're going to have toughness. Whoever wins this job this summer is going to have tough. This is a long training camp. This is July 24th through August 24th. A lot of running, a lot of long days, a lot of being sore, a lot of scrutiny. You have to be mentally tough as a receiver and as a cornerback to get through this thing because they are running you into the ground with the workload as much as you go. So whoever is the toughest to pull that off, I think it's Brooks. I just do. I think there's a mental toughness about him. And I'm not saying that Tolbert is not a tough guy. I just think that Brooks is built for this. I think he's built for this competition. I think the fact he's got a year under his belt, and Tolbert has a couple years under his belt. Tolbert is in that mode of Sam Williams in like you were back-to-back picks. You were picks 2 and 3. They're counting on you to play, guys. They're counting on you to play, and you better find a way to step up and compete and help this football team win. But man, that Jalen Brooks, he has got something to his game, and I'm looking forward to seeing him compete.
It's going to be a fun camp, Bryan Broaddus. And listen, man, we have a lot of little camp matchups we can look at. Maybe we can do that next week or something like that.
That'd be great. And as long as you hit that button, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be good to go. Brian, hey, you're not funny. You're not funny, Brian. Right?
Hey, you know what? I love getting texts from you, but the sad apologetic texts, I don't, man, we're good.
Hey, Bryan, you the GOAT, and the one thing I don't want to do is to disrupt my relationship with the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, trust me, man. Hey, you're the GOAT on this thing. I'm just along for the ride. I'm happy to be on a great podcast with a great guy. How about that?
There would be no podcast if I didn't catch you breaking down film on DallasCowboys.com, man. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate you, sir. Hey, and hey, look, chat. This is just me, my own personal opinion. I think the episode that we actually gave you today is better than the practice attempt that we gave you yesterday. So,
you know what? I was going to say the same thing. I like the way you went into some really good detail today. You had your A game yesterday, but I think you brought the A+ game today.
Hey man, that's what we do, man. And hopefully our friend that's in a high place, hopefully he enjoyed this one because
our buddy Prince Faisal. I'll say Prince Faisal. He looks forward to this. He was reaching out to me. We have an audience in Saudi Arabia, and he was like, Bryan, did you and Voch record one today? And I'm like, Voch forgot to hit the button.
Seize him. Has some guards come to get us.
Yeah. Hello to Prince Faisal from the show. We love you, man.
We love you. And for everybody else listening, hey, hit subscribe. Y'all stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter, Voch Lombardi. Follow Bryan at Bryan Broaddus on Twitter. We got some special things coming, so y'all have to follow us on that platform so y'all can know what's happening when it happens. And we'll catch y'all next week. Swatty Cop. Peace.